fellow Howard University and author Backstage Climate. Please put your hands together for her, oh, for him, sorry. So I invite you on the stage. And now I would like to invite Professor Amar K. Mohanty, Professor and Distinguished Research Excellence Chair, University of Guelph, Canada. Please put your hands together and welcome the dignitary on the dais. Professor Amar, I request you to please join us on the dais. I also request Professor Manjushri Mishra, Professor and Canada Research Chair in Sustainable Biocomposites, University of Guelph, Canada. And she is basically joining us virtually. And there she is. Let's have a round of applause for her. I would also request Dr. Santosh Kumar, Head of the Department, Food Engineering and Technology, Central Institute of Technology, Kokrajhar, India. Please put your hands together for Dr. Santosh Kumar. I invite you on the stage. Also, I would like to invite Dr. Anil Kumar, Ex-Director, Department of Environment, Government of Delhi. Please put your hands together for him. I invite you, sir, on the stage. Your round of claps will make it even more welcoming. I also invite on the stage Professor Aparna Uma Raman, Visiting Faculty, IISC and RV University, Bengaluru, India. Please put your hands together for her. So as we have the distinguished dignitaries over here, I'll request you kindly take your seat, and I would like to hand over this stage to the chair and moderator, but before I hand over, I would like to give a brief introduction of Mr. Rajan Mehta. So Mr. Rajan Mehta, as I have shared with you, that he is into Advanced Leadership Fellow, Howard University, and he is the author of bestseller Backstage Climate. So at Harvard, he focused on climate change and the circular economy. He is currently incubating climate ventures partner to bring clean tech solutions to India, and is the founder of Climate Action Labs as a platform for climate action. He has been a serial tech entrepreneur and held senior leadership roles at companies like Motorola, Nortel, and played an instrumental role in their startup operations in India and South Asia. So yes, I'm now going to hand over this mic to him, and he is going to come up with some new horizons to explore in this session. So ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for Mr. Rajan Mehta. Sir, over to you.
Am I audible? Well, thanks very much for that very lavish introduction. And it compels me to tell you a story so that the expectations are set right. You know, when I was in school, I had a teacher. Her name was Joyshri Arora. She later went on to become a TV actress and then came to films also. And I must have annoyed her in class one day. So she called on me and said, Rajan, you are blessed. You know, God's kind of been very kind on you. He's given you a very innocent face. And on top of that, you also wear specs. That's a deadly combination that makes you look intelligent, that makes you look wise. And then she added, but listen to me, don't open your mouth too often, because then people will know you're otherwise. So I hope this session doesn't prove me to be otherwise. But anyway, having said that, welcome to all of you for this session on circular economy. There is an international organization called the Global Footprint Network. And what they do is they track, monitor, and calculate the natural resources being consumed by humankind. And every year, they come up with a date. This date is called the Earth Overshoot Date. And that is the date when humans have already consumed the natural resources quota meant for that entire year. This year, that date was 1st of August, which means in the first 7 months of the year itself, we had already consumed natural resources that we were supposed to consume in the whole year, which means that for the next 5 months, we will be digging into the reserves of the earth, which basically means that our consumption has gone up so much that one earth is not able to satisfy our needs, which means that we need two earths. But this is not possible. So therefore, we have to mend our ways. Unfortunately, our economic and social structures are built on a linear economic model, which is take, make, use, and dump. We take resources from the ground, we put some energy into them, we convert them into products, use them, and then we dump them, and that leads to waste and pollution, right? But this is not a sustainable model because resources are depleting, we are creating waste and pollution, which is destroying our environment, and also in the process of making of products, we are using a lot of energy which is coming from fossil fuels, and therefore we are adding emissions into the atmosphere, therefore pushing the frontiers of climate change. Now, if this is not sustainable, then what do we do, right? One of the alternatives is we go for circular economy. And somebody asked the question here that what is circular economy? So what you do in circular economy, you take the tail end of the linear model, bend it, and bring it forward to close the loop, right? So that your output waste becomes an input into your new product cycle. And then you elongate this cycle so that the resources that we've dug out remain longer in the economy rather than becoming a waste, right? Many people think that circular economy is all about waste management and therefore about recycling. But that's far from true. Circular economy looks at the complete overhaul of our systems, and it starts right from the design and manufacture of a product. We need to look at products in a very new fashion, with a very new light. We need to start using sustainable materials or recycled materials. We need to design products for avoiding pollution and waste. We need to build them for durability. We need to build them for repairability, right? And then once we come into the use cycle, we need to both elongate the life of the products as well as broaden their usage. When I say elongate, I mean, today if you look at products, they're not repairable. Most of the gadgets we use or anything, once they go bad, we just throw them away because they've been designed like that. But I think going forward, if we were to follow the principles of circular economy, then we need to design them in a manner that they are repairable, right? They are durable, right? That's one step. The next step is repurposing. Once you've used a product, you can repurpose it into something else, right? You can remarket it, you can refurbish it, you can remanufacture it. So this whole string of re's can go on to elongate the life. And if you are able to elongate the life, then of course the resources remain in the economy and don't turn into waste. The second part I mentioned was that we broaden their use. We are somehow, focused on ownership of products, right? We need products for usage, not for ownership, right? And fortunately, now business models are coming up which encourage usage rather than ownership. And that's how you see the shared economy, services coming up. For example, Uber is a shared economy. You don't need to own a car, you can rent a car. Airbnb, you don't need to own a villa in a hill station or a beach. When you want to use it, you can go there and hire it. So concepts like this reduce our focus or need for resources, right? The third step is when the product is really ready for disposal, it's reached its final stage, we got to bring it back into its natural cycle, right? So that it's decomposable, or we need to treat the waste so that it becomes an input for the next cycle. I'll just give you one example. If you look at the garments industry, this whole thing of fast fashion, it's causing a mayhem, right? Driven by low prices, advertising. You know, people are lapping up fast fashion products, using them a couple of times, throwing them, you know, and with the result, in US alone, one truck full of garments is incinerated every minute, either incinerated or put into a landfill. Imagine the kind of waste pollution it's causing, right? Instead, if you follow the principles of circular economy, then right at the beginning, at the design stage, you will start using sustainable fabric, you will start using recycled fabric, and technologies are coming up. They're not commercial, but they're making a beginning where you can do fiber to fiber conversion and many other ways. I won't go into the details because we have some experts here with us who will talk about it. Again, when it comes to usage, there are business models coming up. There's a company called Patagonia who's now making garments from plastic waste blended with cotton. And they give a lifetime guarantee that any time you can bring it back to them for repair. Right? There are companies or portals which sell second-hand garments. There are other ones who rent it out to you. So it's up to us to make good use of these. And then when they are at the end of the life, again, these garments can be recycled fabric to fabric back, or they can be disposed of very usefully. So I'm going to stop there. We have a very strong panel with us here today, and I think you'll hear much more details from them. I'm first going to invite Dr. Amar Mohanty. He's a Distinguished Research Excellence Chair in Sustainable Materials, University of Guelph, Canada. And his research is focused on decarbonization and circular economy-driven engineered polymeric composites and blends, also biodegradable plastics. Over to you, Dr. Amar, and welcome.
Thank you very much, Chair. I believe I sent my PowerPoint presentation.
Sure. Would somebody put up his presentation?
Or we can share. We can share then.
Can you show me here?
You can share.
Oh, they're saying you can share.
Thank you very much, Chair, for your introduction, and I am also thankful to Chair Mehta, who has already narrated about circular economy concepts. So, my name is Amar Mohanty. I am from University of Guelph in Ontario, Canada. I wish I could have been there in this conference. This is an excellent conference as I heard about. And today what I am going to talk on this conference, education on sustainable polymeric materials for a circular economy. As I believe in your previous panel, and although I could not hear whole panel, but I got an opportunity to hear briefly. And now here in Canada, we are about 6:30 or 6:50 a.m. in the morning. So that's the reason I could not attend the previous panels. And what I would like to talk today, since it is a education-oriented conference on resource efficient, I would talk very briefly within my 6 minutes allocated time, what we mean by education on sustainable materials for the circular economy. Next slide, please. As we all talk about today, most of the presentation I had, mostly people are talking about plastic waste problems, and the bottom line of whole things today, our climate change is one of the most pressing global issues, driven by increasing levels of greenhouse gas such as carbon dioxide and methane, and plastic waste is a global pollution problem that appears daily on the news headlines. So we all talk about zero plastic, but I just want to make clear we are not going to be plastic free. As for example, currently we are producing more than 450 million metric tons of plastic, and plastic production is not going to change. It is going to be 1 billion metric tons by 2050. So the bottom line is zero plastic means we have to manage whatever plastics we are creating through a circular economy concept and utilize again and again. That's called circular economy. I will explain. And management is more important, because plastic is very required things. Even starting from the early morning, you take a brush and you use that brush for your cleaning of the teeth, even your dresses, even the car you are riding, even up to aeroplane, so what not. So we use plastic in every span of our life. So if you look into the whole world, the economy is governed by carbon. So currently the world is going through a hydrocarbon chemistry, that is CH chemistry, and we are transitioning to a CHO chemistry, that is called your carbohydrate chemistry. So if you look to the current scenario, that is the carbon, by now in the world we have consumed more than 12 billion tons per carbon per year, that is coming from oil, coal and gas. So that has created the highest level of greenhouse concentration in our world. So what happens by this? That the climate change, that the biodiversity loss, plastic pollution that we are talking here mostly, deforestation, and that air pollution is also creating health problems. Even people have heard about those microplastics. I am not going to talk more because many people have already discussed. Fundamentally, this pollution, plastic pollution, is creating, starting from your microplastic in the human body, in the blood, even up to the Mount Everest. Everywhere this tension is coming out. This is creating health issues like your lungs, cancer, and so on. So this is not a small thing. It is really a critical thing. And having said that, that's why we want to go to a circular economy. Next, please. If you this is something called resource need. If you look into the whole world, we have a fixed area in the world and we fixed resources, but our population is increasing. If you look into the left-hand side graph, in 1990 we have 7 billion tons per year resources need. But if you go to 2050, our resource need go very drastically high because our population is going on. We'll be, let's say, reaching 9.7 to 10 billion population. So in a fixed area of the whole world, if population is increasing, we need more resources. If we need more resources, where to get? So whatever waste we are talking, that should not be waste at all. So that will be not sustainable. How to utilize those waste of one industry, how can that will be the raw material for another industry? That's way we have to manage in order to have a sustainable society. So if you look into the plastic, as for example, plastic is one part of the pollution, which is the main discussions. So currently we are creating about 300 metric tons of plastic waste per year, and which is equivalent to the weight of the entire human population. And that plastic waste will go on increasing. So because as I told, we are going to prepare or make about 1 billion metric ton per year from the current 450 million metric ton. Plastic production will go on. Nobody can stop it. But how to manage and what to do, that is what the whole world is looking for. So that means explosion, population and urbanization resource need will increase by 2.5 times by 2050 because plastic pollution end up in the world's ocean. So this is a data of around 8 metric ton per year, but now it has exceeded 10 metric ton per year. One dumped of plastic waste per minute poured into the sea. By 2050, more plastic in the ocean than fish. 10,000 plastic bags and one garbage drop for textile wastage per second. Not only the plastic, another big issue is the food waste. 1/3 of the food waste per year is about costing $750 billion. That means we are wasting more than $750 billion by our food waste. So food waste, plastic waste, agro waste, all those can be combined as a new resource to sustain the resource need of 10 billion population in the world, not only in India, in Canada, United States, and throughout. So that is the biggest issue that all people are looking into. Just like in India, I came to know that a very recent study tells that India generates highest plastic pollution in the world. This is a new study. I hope many people have gone through. Currently 9.3 million metric tons for plastic waste being generated in India, which is about 1/55th of the global pollution, global plastic pollution. India burns about 5.8 metric ton per year and returns another 3.5 metric ton of plastic into the environment. It's not my study, this is the recent study that was already been declared. Also, I read it from some Indian newspaper like that. So having said that, so it is not only India but also in Canada. Lot of discussion is going on this recycling and plastic waste, is biodegradable or other things are another alternative or not. Next, please.
Dr. Mohanty, I've been told of some time constraints. If you could conclude in the next 30 seconds or so.
Think, thank you very much. And circular economy versus linear, I am not going to talk more about that. These are already been discussed. Next, please. So if you look into this concept, so far the sustainable materials is concerned, we are developing two types of sustainable materials. One is your sustainable materials, bio-based, non-degradable, which is recyclable, that go for durable type of application. And second is biodegradable type. If you look to this concept, in many cases people are trying to take the waste as a resource. Next one, please. If you look what is the sustainable materials education-wise, earlier sustainable materials people were thinking only from renewable resources. Now the sustainable materials defined as any materials obtained from renewable, recycled waste and even from carbon dioxide. Not only that, in order to use those sustainable materials, our feedstocks should be waste and renewable, and not only that, we should manufacture in the greener manufacturing way, then go for various applications, whether packaging to automatics or anything. But most importantly, collection, sorting, and end of life should be there. Suppose a biodegradable polymer, if you throw outside, is not going to be composted. So you should have the appropriate end of life option for those type of materials to have a sustainable society. Next one, please. So what I would like to tell at the end, and once you develop a sustainable materials, it is not also a concept of integrating innovation and climate with economic growth. This is also an outcome of the Nobel Prize in 2018. What I want to stress here, if you do we must have to innovate to get rid of this plastic waste concern that is a daily headline way. Innovation, in my opinion, is make something and create and develop something and utilize for society. Suppose any scientific discovery good for application societal uses, that is called innovation. If we want to innovate, the progress to low carbon economy. Now currently we are going to petro economy, we are going to, let's say, bioeconomy or waste-free economy, that is called a reduced carbon. That means we are reducing the petroleum carbon and going to a waste-based carbon to our economy. So that means all the polluter must be taxed. So at the end, I just want to tell if what are the action item must be done. 50% of the materials, the plastic that go for packaging, which is a very short life, and the plastic which are not recyclable, that means multi-layer films and short-lived plastic or biodegradable alternatives is very important. Having said that, government should have the appropriate end-of-life options, composting facilities, regional or in the state level. In that is one alternative. Secondly, investing in recycling technology, especially for upcycling. So that is a new technology, how you get more value of the waste plastic than the virgin plastic. That's another to composites, blend and all those. Second option. And third item is to leverage artificial intelligence and to sort it out those waste plastics and find the upcycling of those. And fourth recommendation will be expanding the extended extended producer responsibility. Those are the 5 key points is going to take a vital role into having resourceful society and to have a sustainable society at the end. I think I will close here.
Sure.
And if any questions, I will be able to answer at the end.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mohanty, for that very insightful presentation. A request to all the speakers that please confine your presentation to 5 minutes, because I think the conference is running a little late, so they would like to catch up on the time. With that, I'd also like to invite Professor Manjushri Mishra, Professor and Canada Research Chair in Sustainable Biocomposites, University of Guelph, Canada. Dr. Mishra's novel sustainable materials reduce global dependence on fossil polymers, greenhouse gas emissions, and waste, fostering a circular economy. Welcome, Dr. Manjushri.
Okay, thank you. Oh, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mehta, for the introduction, and have a good afternoon to you as well as to all the panelists and all the attendees. Thank you everyone to be here. And again, sorry, as Amar mentioned that we could not be there. Oh, just to say that Professor Mohanty is also my husband, and we did work on the sustainable materials starting from our PhD. When the sustainable materials was not, there was no definitions long back. That was in Odisha, east coast of India. And I am from Cuttack and Bhubaneswar. So, can I get my slides, please?
I think you can share them.
Oh, I can share them.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, they are sharing it.
Okay, no problem.
Can you see the slides? Would you like to start?
No, this not there.
We see the slide here, so if you could start, and when you want the next slide, maybe you can just tell them and they'll switch over.
Oh yeah, okay, because I don't see anything. Okay, sure. I can start then myself. Okay. So as you can see that the global landfill swells with 9 billion tons of plastic, which also Professor Mohanty has depicted. That means 1 ton for every person on the earth, and that is what is creating all these global pollution. Next slide, please. So you can see that the microplastics are there already in the Mount Everest, and you can find them in the height of over 8,000 meters. So next slide, please. So as you can see the latest very new information tells that India generates highest plastic pollution in the world. That is a very recent study from the September this month. So next is Nigeria, Indonesia, and where China was one of the top in the list, now comes down to fourth. The reason is their management system, the plastic and waste management system, became better in last couple of years, and so they reduce the amount of plastic that are injected into the society, into the general public. So next slide, please. So as you can see here that 2023 was the hottest year in the record, and that was the hottest in 174 years of the climate record. And as per the last June in 2024, in the end of 2024, it will become the highest in terms of the hottest temperature, or the warmest in the record. And that is why the global warming, which is generated by disruption of the carbon cycle, where we all are a part of the carbon cycle, and where the carbon circulates between the earth and the ocean and atmosphere, where more amount of the carbon dioxide is going to atmosphere, and which is creating the global warming. Coming to the plastic, I can just quickly tell you that this the carbon dioxide GHG emission from the conventional plastic is around 1.7 gigaton. That was in 2015, but in 2050 it will become 6.5 gigaton. Next slide, please. Okay, so I will talk just one example in terms of the Indian context. As you can see here, the straw and agro residues are burning. Can you just put a cursor, like, yeah. So all are burning, and this is a huge amount, and it will start in after 1 month, like end of October up to February, the whole North India will become darker. Because of why? The excessive burning of the waste or the crop residue from rice, cotton and wheat, all these things around the Punjab, Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. Everything makes Delhi completely dark, and but you can see that as we grow to our education, our learning, we can stop this. We can stop this atmospheric pollution, and by use of advanced biorefining and technology. Can you do the press another one, please? Yeah. So with this advanced biorefinery technology, we can make it like really secure the environment. And next slide, please.
Dr. Mishra, if I could request you to please expedite.
I am stopping. Yeah, thank you so much. So what I would say that here is the one where we can do the waste valorization with the understanding the resource efficiency, sustainable production and waste reduction. And next slide, please. No, next one. Thank you. So with this, like integrating the resource efficiency with the product development, we can do also the support the UN Sustainable Development Goal, and which normally kind of will promote several goals, including the partnership, and for which we are here. We can discuss more during the questions. Thank you very much, Mr. Mehta.
Thank you very much, Professor Mishra, for that very enlightening presentation. I'd like to now invite Dr. Santosh Kumar, who's the head of Department of Food Engineering and Technology, Central Institute of Technology, Kokrajhar. Dr. Kumar has authored, edited more than 60 publications, including 45 reviewed journal papers, 4 books, and 19 book chapters. Dr. Kumar has received several awards, including Overseas Associateship Award by Department of Biotechnology, Government of India. You must be in the Guinness book. Welcome, Dr. Santosh.
Hello. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Rajan. Good evening, everyone. Sorry. Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank Dr. Bhuj and the entire organizing team for inviting me and providing the platform to talk on our research. So today I am going to talk on the edible packaging, a sustainable solution for the futures. So edible packaging, actually a lot of discussion was in the previous session was on the plastics and the plastic pollution of the synthetic plastics or the fossil based plastics. So that plastics, what could be the alternative solutions and what would be the alternative sustainable solutions for that plastics which are being particularly used for the food packaging applications. So how we can minimize the use of the single use plastics, particularly which is being used as a primary packaging of the food materials. So I will talk on that. So food losses and food waste, nearly as in the previous session, also it was discussed that about 1/3 of the food waste, food are wasted due to improper storage, improper transportation facilities, and the other food spoilage. So in the packaging industries, about 37% of the plastics are being used compared to the compared to the all other different materials used in the plastic packaging. So mostly used is the plastics, second to the paper and paper board. So that plastics is polluting every corner of the earth, including the sea and oceans, and that plastics leading into the microplastics and nanoplastics and ultimately going to the animals as well as it reaches up to the human bloods. In a recent study conducted in Netherlands that showed that the plastics, plastics of the nano size plastics are being found in the bloods of the healthy human beings. So that plastics is polluting every corner of the earth, including the animals as well as the human beings. So the contributor or the main contributor is the single use plastics, which are actually 2 million plastic bags are used every minute worldwide, and which means hardly that plastics are being recycled or recycled. So the best way to best approach, it could be to minimize the use of that single use plastics. So what would be the alternatives? Alternatives or sustainable solutions. So starting from the conventional packaging, means plastic based packaging, we came up to the bioplastics, which is the biodegradable plastics, and now we are talking about the edible films and coatings, which are the means completely or entirely degradable plastics. But because that degradations that does not require the microbial enzyme to secrete or the particular conditions for the degradations, because these edible coatings and films we can consume along with the food items, and that can be digested or the mineralized by the enzymes secreted inside our intestine. So that edible films and coating can protect the food items from the physical damage, environmental damage, microbial infections, and chemical deteriorations. So edible films or coatings are not meant to, or could they ever replace the non-edible or the non-biodegradable plastics, but it can minimize the use of the primary package of the single-use plastics. What could be the possible applications of these edible films? We can see here that can be used as a wrapping of the candies, portion packaging, instant noodle spices, wrapping of the fruits and vegetables, and the coating of the fruits and vegetables. It also we can coat the ice creams, and we can use it as a cup for the ice creams. So that can be used. What we did in our institute, in our research lab, we have developed many edible films and the coatings by using the different materials, edible materials particularly, that are made from the biopolymers as well as the natural plant antimicrobial and antioxidant agent like essential oil. So that we have used to develop certain films and coating, and we have used that materials to extend the shelf life, to use as a primary package for the fruits and vegetables, as well as muscle foods along with the other food items. So, here we can see that we have used the agar as a biopolymer, chitosan, gelatin, etc. as a biopolymers, and we have used certain additives to functionalize that biopolymers and to make it available, make it for the wrapping of the food items, so that the shelf life of the food items can be increased by the sustainable way. Rather than using the single use plastics for the wrapping the food items, we can use that biodegradable edible films for the extension of the shelf life. We developed many coating solutions that can spread or that can be used to dipping of the fruits and vegetables and make a coat on the surface of the fruits and vegetables, and that actually showed an excellent result when we applied over the pineapple fruit, and we could extend the shelf life of the up to 3 weeks in the ambient conditions. We also applied another natural wax we have used to coat on the sweet lemon, and that also we can see that we have extended the shelf life up to 4 weeks by using that edible materials. Not only that, we also used the different materials, celiac wax as well as the carnauba wax, along with the aloe vera and some essential oil we have used as a active agent or active antimicrobial antioxidant agent, which could prevent from the microbial spoilage of the food items, fungus, or it could be a bacterial. So that we can, in the case of the kaji lemon, we also extended the shelf life of up to 3 weeks. And we also tested recently that different coating materials on the muscle food, chicken as well as pork meat, and you can see that we could extend the shelf life of up to 1 week at the refrigeration temperature. So that material was totally from the natural origins, either from the plant material or either from the animal source, and that has shown excellent results against all the perishable food items. So lastly, in conclusion, I would like to say that edible packaging that edible films and coating can maintain quality and extend the shelf life of the fruits and vegetables up to a month. Complete replacement of the synthetic food packaging or plastics material is impossible, but their usage may be limited or minimized through the application of the edible films and coatings as a primary packaging. Edible films and coating have a strong potential to add sustainable food production and promote circular economy. So thank you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Santosh. Considering the amount of wastage we have in food transportation, retail, and even at our homes, I think your work on edible packaging will go a long way. Thanks again. I'd like to now invite Professor Aparna Uma Raman, visiting faculty, IISc and RV University, board member and advisor at Udyan Foundation and Innomantra Consulting, Bangalore. Professor Aparna is also a strategy and policy consultant for international organizations, startups, firms, government bodies, NGOs, and conducts training programs for professionals, industry experts, and faculty development across institutes and universities in India and overseas. Welcome, Professor Aparna.
Thank you, Professor Rajan Mehta. And good evening to everybody. I thought I would be the last speaker, because the best thing about speaking last is I don't need to know what I need to speak, but what I don't have to speak about, because everything else is spoken. See, first of all, we can throw all the research around, and we do a lot of R&D, but it really boils down to some basic questions. And I'd like to just show my last slide, which I made on the India story. If they could just, that one mind map. We need to just ask ourselves, as I ask my students, because nature doesn't need us, we need nature. And so what is that you value? And what is the perception and your philosophy of nature? Because if there is an underlying philosophy or a worldview, then one, because humans are creatures of habit, so one lives as per one's ecosystem and environment. The organism and the environment are always aligned. You can't have one without the other. And in all my writings, in all my conferences and all my programs, I say that habit, habitat, and habituating to that is the most core element, because it just boils down to one thing, right? Because humans, we as humans have forgotten how to integrate our economy with our biology. So we have a biology on one side and economy on one side, and the gap is just growing because who is producing and who is consuming are not even talking to each other. So there's no stakeholdership. And what is really the stakeholdership? Because even if somebody has an operation, it takes time to recover. If you can't have an operation and next day run for the Olympics. So therefore, you have to understand that natural resources, nature takes its own course. And therefore, there is no policy in terms of what is the integration of the policy in the design stage, at the production stage, at the use stage, and at the recycle stage. And if there is an integrated policy, then who is really the decision maker? Because these are all separate decision makers. And I think that the real stakeholders who produce the next generation, meaning women, are not included, or if they are, then they are not deciding on a long-term basis. It's a very linear, and I would agree, a lot of the worldview, the time view that we have is linear, whereas time is actually a cycle. And therefore, we need to understand how we look at these things and how we interpret these things and what is really our core philosophy. For example, we've had certain wins and we've also had certain trade-offs. Everything is a trade-off. Everything comes at the cost of something else. Even you can't have the cake and eat it too, which is the basic first principle. And therefore, when you look at everything in its own context, time and space, then there is a larger vision. And then there is this local, everyday, short-term living. So the life and living. So we had society, so the macro and micro level. And how do you integrate these two? And how do you sort of look at this as a whole picture, holistic picture? And so a lot of my thesis work went into how do you integrate energy systems, health systems, environment systems, and the entire socio-economic system as a whole, because these systems are part of the larger framework. So how do you evolve a policy framework? Unfortunately, we are siloed in our thinking, we are fragmented, because I don't think there is an SDG, but then how do you translate that to a local day-to-day, and how do you translate that at a collective level? So we've had certain wins in, say, distributed production because of technology. And technology won't ask anybody. Technology is not going to wait for policy. It's a chicken and egg problem. So which came first, the horse, the cart? You had economic relocalization. You had participatory governance because, it was not redistributed, and because it was a capitalist economic framework, a system. And then you had bioregional societies because history, geography, culture are relative to time and space. So there's a theory of relativity, and the Albert Einstein of ecology and environment is really Arrhenius. The late Arrhenius was actually the Albert Einstein. If you look at his work and his books, he actually talks about ecocentrism and technocentrism. We've moved from ecocentrism, we're moving into technocentrism. But we're not asking this question, what is the quality, at what cost, and how does it going to have the consequence of it? So what is the cost consequence and what is the benefit really? And I really think that a lot of and I'm not going to be very popular to say this, but I think the people who produce, it's a source, the concept of source to source. The women are also the center of production of the next generation, and they should really introspect. And we should look at health as a very core manifestation. If health goes, and health of the individual is related to the health of the habitat, is related to the health of the ecosystem, is related to the health of the environment. You can't de-link these things. And that's why we have this whole philosophy in Asian society. I won't say it's a Western philosophy at all. In Asian, that nature is a part, it's a habit, it's a day-to-day, it's part of it's integrated into our culture. So we look at it from a cultural lens, not just like an economic lens. So we're not extractive in our mindset, but we know where the balance is, because everything comes to a bell curve. That's like the law of gravity. So everywhere you go, there is a bell curve, and there will be an optimal point or a point of inflection, and anything after that will be a negative consequence. So we've had governance wins, we've had production and economic wins, we've had the social institutions, we've built the knowledge systems, we've mapped the biodiversity, and we have the art, architecture, and culture. The real challenge for the next generation is how do you connect these dots? These are like 6 disparate points or dots, and how do you connect these dots and evolve that? And I think it's a very big leadership question, because the people taking the decisions are not really the people with the knowledge, are not really the people with the future, are not really, so these are all disparate, divergent, differentiated sets of stakeholders, and who has the most to lose is
Professor
really the
Parna,
question.
could I ask you to explain? Thank you very much, and sorry for cutting you in between, but I liked your comparison or mention about the ecocentrism and the technocentrism. It's so true. I'd now like to invite Dr. Anil Gupta, ex-Director, Department of Environment, Government of Delhi. Dr. Anil Kumar, a PhD in chemistry from IIT Kanpur, has over 20 years of experience with the Government of Delhi, including 10 years as Director of the Department of Environment. Over to you, Dr. Anil Gupta.
Hello. Thank you, Chair Mr. Mehta, and thank you, Mobius Foundation, and my friend Dr. Rambuj for inviting me. And I don't know, I am going to make justice in 5 minutes for the circular economy. I mean, because 5 minutes time is, but anyway, I'm being last speaker, I can, I think, take 2 minutes more. I mean, that's what so we'll just run through that. Yeah. So, as my topic, I am just going to cover the Indian scenario for circular economy, actually. See, I'm not going to go in details about I mean, that's what what circular economy or linear economy is there. Basically, this basically a fundamental shift from the where way we design, produce, consume, and dispose. I mean, that's what and this is basically we have to shift there. All we gained, I mean, particularly this is the waste minimization and all. But the thing is that the circularity report 2023 estimate that only 7.2% of the global economy is circular, and the number is only getting worse with time. It was 2018, it was 9.8% something, and the 2023 report is 7.2%. So this is very, I mean, worrying thing like that, particularly. And particularly with respect to India, basically we know that the current economic model is linear, largely linear, where resources are extracted, processed, and transformed into products that are sold to the consumers. And after use, these products are disposed of, and leading to significant amount of waste generation going to landfill that way. According to the Central Pollution Control Board, watchdog, I mean, for the apex body of Indian pollution control, I was part of for Delhi. I was the director and also member secretary of Delhi Pollution Control Committee, also board for Delhi. And basically, India generates about 62 million tons of waste every year, and about 43 million tons, 70% collected, and of about 12 million tons only treated, and 31 million tons are dumped in landfills, and expected to increase to 165 million tons by 2030. The majority waste disposed in landfill. So see that in Delhi itself, 3 big mountain of landfills. I mean, they are going to be ultimately going for the using, take, make, and use and dispose. That what culture is there actually. And the basically model, circular economy model in India, basically a middle class continue to grow, and we are buying online things, and so packaging is also going to increase. The circular economy model could provide a very strong framework for development of such basis for setting up principles of these business innovation. So I'm just giving some circular economy development path in India. The circular economy development path in India could create annual value of rupees 14 lakhs crores, US dollar to 218 billion in 2030, and 40 lakhs crores, about US dollar 624 billion in 2050, compared with the current development scenario. The conclusion emerges from the comparison of the cost in the 3 focus area, because we are agriculture-based economy more, agriculture, mobility, and construction. The analysis indicate that cost to provide the same level of utility could be significantly lower in the circular development scenario. This India policy framework to promote the circular economy based on the multi-pronged approach. and include regulatory measures because the all pollution control body and other regulatory authority, financial incentive, awareness campaigns, and capacity building. And some of the key policy and initiative implemented by Indian government to promote this economy are being explored, and just few example I am giving here. The National Resource Efficiency Policy. The NREPs was launched in 2019 with the objective to promote sustainable productions and the consumption pattern, enhancing resource efficiency and reducing the environmental impact of the economic activities. Extended producer responsibility. Basically, this is one of the another important element of the policy designed to facilitate the creative circular economy. EPR basically regulatory framework that basically implemented by Central Pollution Control Board that makes manufacturer and producer responsible for the post-consumer waste generation by their products. The EPR framework encourages producer to adopt sustainable production design practice, increase the use of recycled material, and support waste management. EPR regulation currently in India for e-waste, tire waste, battery waste, used oil, plastic waste, and they have been already notified by Ministry of Environment, Forest, Climate Change, Government of India, and being implemented by Central Pollution Control Board and State Pollution Control Board of the different states. Another also policy framework is Swachh Bharat Mission. This is basically launched in 2014, and mission include promote waste segregation, recycling, composting to make a zero waste country. Basically, reduction waste generation is central to goal of circular economy. There is also a need to radically change the way waste disposal, waste management being organized in the country. Reducing waste generation, managing waste more efficiently is fundamental in helping the India meet mission circular economy. Waste reduction and efficient waste management are two basically key pillars of circular economy. Waste reduction help conserve natural resources by reducing the need for raw material and energy consumption, and efficient waste management can create economic opportunity for promoting recycling, composting, and the other form of recovery. Atal Mission of Innovation. Atal Innovation Mission also very important, launched in 2016, promote innovation and entrepreneurship in India. The mission includes initiative to support the development of circular business models. Also, Niti Aayog, the think tank of the Government of India, has formed committee for 11 sectors waste streams, including the e-waste and also the automobile scrap waste and all that. There is 11 different sectors. They have formed the committee, and the work is going on. Financial incentive. In addition to these policy initiative, a number of interventions have been made which involve around financial incentive. Basically, these include tax benefits, subsidies, and low interest loans to the recycling industry. This is very, very important for this. The India policy framework also promotes circular economy is linked to the basically range of measures, basically circular business model, promote resource, and India several challenges. I'll just make what the challenge India is facing that. One of the biggest challenges is the lack of adequate infrastructure for waste segregation, management, recycling. In waste processing recycling facility need to be, because we mainly focus on waste to energy plant and compressed biogas plant and the other composting plant. But these are some sustainability issue also, and waste to energy is one of the important. And government need to create awareness campaigns on education program, promote just like this, the Mobius Foundation are doing that, and the adoption of circular economy practices that. And these are the transition towards circular require a effort by all stakeholders. Government needs to create supportive policies, environment investment, infrastructure, research and development. Business needs to adopt circular business models and corporate sustainable practices. Consumer need to adopt sustainable consumption pattern. By working together, India can transition towards circular economy, create a sustainable future. And needs to focus on creating awareness. Basically, that's what I'm just saying. All stakeholders like the government, business, NGO, consumers to address these barriers and accelerate the economy. And basically, the reuse model of the 3R, 4R, 5R, 6R very important. And if we adopt, this can also create opportunity to community-based business that provide repair and reuse services through circular supply chains. And transition circular economy can bring significant benefits to India, ranging from environment conservation, economic growth, and job creation. And basically, in the last slide, way forward is to build a mass movement of the circular economy in the country. Awareness campaign needs to be launched by individuals, household, villagers, and business by all stakeholders. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Anil. You actually did well on time. I hope all of you enjoyed these sessions and got a good perspective on what circular economy is, what is happening in the academia, in the research side, and also from the policy side of it. I'd just like to say that the three stakeholders in this whole mission are the consumers, the business, and the government. And we all have to do our bit as consumers we need to give up this mindset of ownership and move towards usage. At the business level, again, the focus on selling products need to shift into selling products as a service. And on the regulatory side, I think government needs to help the industry by coming up with regulations that compel them to use recycled material. Because what I'm hearing, in my talks with the industry is that, it's more expensive, it's not readily available, and there are reasons why they can't use it. So the government has to facilitate that. And also come up with standards for products, for other things, so that circular economy can become a reality. I know we are out of time. With that, I'm going to stop. Thanks to all the speakers and the audience here. If there are any questions, we would take it if she allows, but otherwise...
Sir, actually, I can allow, but the time is not allowing me.
Sure.
I'm so sorry for
I
that.
think all of us would be here in the, down. So if any...
Let's take one question from the person who hasn't asked yet. You haven't
Please go
asked
ahead.
yet.
Please give her
Yeah,
the mic.
so mic is over there, so maybe in the next session then. Yeah.
Thank you for such amazing remarks. My name is Dr. Vidhi Vora. I am a founder of Green Phoenix Circular Solutions, working in the space of circular economy. There was one point where I beg to differ, where there's a lot of work that is happening in the circular economy space from a very reactive perspective than a very proactive perspective, where there are a lot of startups that are coming up. We think that they are coming up with solutions to reduce the amount of waste that is going into the environment, but unfortunately they are creating bigger problems in the future. But however, that is a topic for another day. What my question was that how can institutions, as Aparna very well said, that you need to integrate a lot of things which is happening in silos into one, and that circular economy is an all-encompassing thing. How do you think that institutions, no matter which degree or which course they teach, can involve circular economy education into their curriculum, and how this can be penetrated into the next generation? If someone could throw a light on.
Aparna, would you like to take that?
No, that's really the challenge for not just this. It's a generational challenge, no doubt about this. First of all, you need that vision, and the vision, the leadership, and the execution to come together. Because the issue really is that what is the state subject, the central subject. So this is a federation in terms of the constitution. We have a policy, but then everybody customizes it. But if you become like a Google, where you allow the ecosystem and allow people to just customize it according to their own requirements, finally in an organic way it will evolve. The whole point is that it can't be a top down or bottom up. It'll have to be from both, because the fact is that a lot of people have their own zones, and we used to do that. We used to do that before this entire system got discontinued. And for example, in Germany or any other place, in Singapore, I worked in Singapore, and there is a sort of amalgamation of all the Eastern philosophy, etc., and they kind of push it in terms of both practical and also theoretical. So there has to be a combination, because theory and theory is just paper. So there has to be a more experiential learning, and it has to take its own evolution. Unfortunately, we haven't been able to put together all the policy makers. First, train the trainers first. Yeah. I mean to say, if you give up the entire thing that I know everything, and then you just learn, and everybody learns and evolves on their own this thing. The second element really is to bring a framework where we can balance it's like a balanced diet. So you have to involve more diverse stakeholders, and you have to have some international collaboration, and we have to balance this entire thing out. So we have to do it from Delhi, we have to do it from South, both North and South, and it has to be a holistic approach. And there are the future is going to be multidisciplinary, there's no doubt about it. If you don't do it, the technology will make you do it, AI will make you do it. So it's about collaboration and multidisciplinary, and we'll have to work towards the bottom up, and we have to preserve what we have. We're losing even that. So
great, thanks very
Thank
much.
you.
I hope that answers your question, and with that we will close the session. Thank you once again.
Thank you so much, sir. Let's hear it for the panel, please. And we would like to have a photo up with all of you, so I'll request you to please take a step forward so that we may capture this group photo in our cameras. And simultaneously, I would like to request Dr. Ram Bhush to please come on the stage for the felicitation of the dignitaries. So starting with, firstly, I'll request Dr. Ram Bhush to please felicitate Mr. Rajan Mehta, the chair and the moderator of this session. Thank you so much, sir, for joining us. And Professor Amar K. Mohanty. Oh, he was there virtually. Yeah, so then Madam was also joining us virtually, Professor Manjushri Mishra ji. So now I'll request her to please felicitate Dr. Santosh Kumar. Maybe hear it for this really, really wonderful session, please. I request Dr. Ram Bhush to please felicitate Dr. Anil Kumar. It has been our privilege to work along Dr. Anil Kumar when he was serving his tenure into Government of Delhi. And now is the felicitation for Professor Aparna Uma Raman. Really delighted to have you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And with this, I would like to invite you all for a cup of tea, and we'll be back here in just 10 another minutes, because then we are going to have very, very important sessions and an award ceremony as well. So please have your cup of tea and see you on the other side. Thank you so much.